right now is Wyoming Senator and Senate Energy and Foreign Relations Committee member John Barrasso. And Senator, it is always a pleasure to see you. Thanks very much for being back. Your reaction to what we're hearing. I've said a lot about this plan. I've got a Larry Lindsay report in front of me that I keep quoting. Is this the Green New Deal?
It sure is, Maria. You know, the old saying, my way or the highway, I'd take the highway, because what Joe Biden is proposing here is really a slush fund of liberal spending and payoff to unions and force-feeding the Green New Deal on the American people. Real infrastructure are roads and bridges, and yet that's less than 6% of the money on this massive spending bill. There's more money in this for electric vehicles than there is for roads and bridges and ports and airports and waterways combined. So when you take a look at all of this spending, you say, is this what the American people want in infrastructure? And I say it is not. That's what we need to do, is actual infrastructure to help rebuild our bridges and our roads, those sorts of things, not all of this unnecessary liberal spending. And you know, Maria, you've said it yourself, it's all going to be paid for by raising taxes on the American people.
Yeah, I mean, it was also, by the way, rather disingenuous of the president to say, oh, we want clean drinking water and the pipes are dirty or whatever he was referring to, and that's infrastructure. Sure, I get that, but that's not really what we're calling him out for. That's not infrastructure. We're really talking about things like a forced unionization plan and the right to work rules. Let's talk about that part of the so-called infrastructure plan. What does forcing people to join a union have to do with infrastructure?
Absolutely nothing. And the largest piece of this legislation, $400 billion, is on Medicaid expansion and this forcing of those who are participating in that into unions. The other part of this is also that this draws a target on carbon-based fuels, oil, gas, American energy, and 1 million people who have those jobs. This is going to raise costs for how you heat your home and what it costs to drive and buy food. It's going to make us more dependent on foreign sources of energy. And Maria, one of the things that really has struck me is they have $100 billion in this for a green school initiative. And you dig into it and say, so what are they going to do for $100 billion? They're going to remake the cafeterias so they serve green meals, and that they get rid of paper products, and the trays that you get your food on, they need to be recyclable. I mean, these people, this proposal, it's radical, extreme, it's dangerous, it's scary. In the past, you've reported on the Solyndra debacle in the Obama administration. This is going to be Solyndra on steroids.
That's unbelievable, and that's why the new op-ed in the Journal this morning is calling it the Green New Deal in disguise. They're referencing Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who has been pushing for this far-left policy on climate change, writing, no wonder Ms. Ocasio-Cortez is elated. Her climate dreams are coming true, and all under the false front of infrastructure. Senator, I mean, look, he keeps saying that he wants unity. Isn't this one area where you could have actually had unity? Everybody wants infrastructure for their state, but if it's only 15%, if it's $600 billion versus $2.25 trillion, why put all this stuff on the table, forcing us to cough up higher taxes, slowing an economy just as it was getting sea legs? What is going on? And this is only one part of the radical agenda. We're going to get to your phenomenal trip to the border in a second.
Well, you're absolutely right. There are many things that we could do on infrastructure. The last year, I chaired the Environment and Public Works Committee. Out of the committee came a bipartisan, unanimous vote on an infrastructure bill that really did what you just talked about, roads, bridges, ports. We also did safe drinking water and water resources as part of all of this, again, unanimously, people working together. We sent that to the House for their consideration, and they came back with, again, the Green New Deal under Nancy Pelosi. There's a win to be had here on the things that we all agree is infrastructure. You had broadband onto that, but not this extraneous spending on things that are so extreme that even there are Democrats that are saying, hey, hold on, you're going way too far.
Yeah. Are they going to be able to get this through reconciliation? He keeps talking about wanting unity, and yet he keeps pushing through things on one party's vote. Look, I want to talk about the border crisis because the Biden administration reached an agreement with the governments of Mexico, Honduras, and Guatemala to tighten the borders, ramp up security, according to officials. This is pushing for more troops deployed to stop the cartels and traffickers amid the migrant influx. You were just there, Senator. You tried to take pictures. They wanted you to stop taking pictures, telling you to delete your photos. I want to get Angela in here, but first, your reaction to this deal with Guatemala, Honduras, and El Salvador.
Well, I saw that news this morning, and you're right, Maria. I was at the border.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, I was at the border. 19 senators. We saw the crisis at the border that had occurred because of the changes that Biden brought into office when he was sworn in on that first day. The Border Patrol says their job has gotten a lot tougher. There are things we could do. Number one is to finish the wall. Number two is the Remain in Mexico program. It looks like the Biden administration is trying because now they realize what a mess they have made of it. We need to secure the border. It is not secure now, and you have so many liberals in the Democrat Party that want to basically have open borders and want to eliminate immigration and custom enforcement and are really not on the side of a secure border. We need to secure the border. The easiest way into the United States right now, Maria, is to come in illegally. You don't need identification, and you don't need to be tested for coronavirus.
Yeah, gosh, it's unbelievable that they're bringing drugs, human trafficking, and coronavirus over the border, and you saw it up close and personal. Angela, jump in here.
Well, Senator Barrasso, I have a question for you that I think ties together both the infrastructure issue, where it's seemingly everything the Democrats want is infrastructure, and the crisis at the border. A border wall is infrastructure. Has there been any talk in Congress among your colleagues about potentially including that in a reconciliation package?
Well, the reconciliation was done, as you know, in the first part, completely by the Democrats. They let the Republicans out of it. You know, when they talk about bipartisan, they're not even looking for Republican votes in the House or the Senate anymore. They can find some mayor in some community who's a Republican who may be for something, and they say, well, now it's bipartisan. It's really not. The reconciliation, if they do it again, will be done strictly along party lines. We will introduce amendments to it to do exactly what you said, to finish the wall. We could see right there at the border where the wall construction had stopped. There are parts of the wall that are ready to go up, but the day that Joe Biden became president, he said, stop, don't put up these remaining areas that we paid for. The raw materials are there, ready to go up. We're going to call the Democrats on that on the floor. If they try reconciliation, we're going to try to put right there into the bill, finish the wall. We want it done.
Well, good for you. Stephen Miller made a great point last night. He was on Fox, and he said Republicans should say we will do an infrastructure bill only if it has a border security bill in it. If border security is half of that bill, we'll do it. I mean, that's a smart idea. How will you vote? What do you think the chances of this going through are if, in fact, you don't get these changes, you don't get a border security bill?
I don't see any Republicans supporting this massive spending by the Biden administration, where less than 6% of it goes for roads and bridges, and all of this money goes for all of these extraneous things. Maria, over $2 trillion. We just spent $1.9 trillion on a so-called coronavirus relief bill where only 9% of the money had to do with actual medical care and 91% was for other things. They name it one thing, do another thing, and spend massive amounts of money, putting us as a nation into debt. Our kids and grandkids are going to be carrying this heavy burden for generations to come.
That's really disingenuous, Senator. You're right. It's good to see you this morning. Thanks very much. John Barrasso. We'll be right back.